Hi friends, and welcome back to my channel. My name is Tammy Ernest and I am a long-arm quilter, and here on my channel I like to share customer finishes as well as my own personal projects. Today is March the 7th and I'm so glad you've joined me here today. And today I have updates on my Scrappy Spools Quilt Along, also my Calico Garden Quilt Along. So we're going to start off with those things, and then I'll show you some things I've gotten in the mail this week. And finally, we will do some long arm finishes. So I'm so glad you're here with me. Thank you for coming back. So let's start off with Scrappy Spools. Are you quilting along with this one? So this one is put on by Fat Quarter Shop. And let me pull out the picture. This is a quilt that Holt designed, and Fat Quarter Shop is putting this on. It's just a once a month quilt along. So this week is when the next set of blocks, everybody starts on the next set. So we've done January and February. And a couple weeks ago I showed you the January blocks. Those were the 4 patches and the log cabin ones. So just as a review. So with my quilt along, what I am doing is I am sewing from one of my Fat Quarter scrap baskets. So this is how I store yardage that's around a Fat Quarter. Sometimes, anywhere from less than a yard, but usually more than a Fat Quarter. So like if I get Fat Quarters, pick those up at a quilt store, or if I get Fat Quarters in an exchange at the guild or something like that. This is the way I store them. And then any other pieces that are just about that size, this is a little smaller because I've used it here. But ones that, they're not a yard, but I don't want to cut this up into smaller scraps yet at this point. So I store that in this basket. So I have actually 3 of these baskets at this point, and when I was looking for fabrics to do this quilt along, I just decided to pull this whole basket out, and I was just going to stitch from fabrics that were in here. So they all kind of coordinated. Some are a little brighter, some a little darker. There's a whole set of browns, and those are the browns that I'm using for the different ends of the spools. So the first month for January, sorry about that. So for January, I did the log cabin blocks and the 4 patches, all with this color brown spool for the tops and the bottoms of it. So this month, for February, okay, so I have the blocks done for February, and those were the checkers blocks and the sew dash blocks. So let me show you what I did here. First, we'll start with the checkers ones. And so this is the brown that I chose for all of these blocks for February. So all of these are going to match. And we've talked about before with the way the layout is, because none of the checker blocks, see if I can even find one on this one here. May not even show up on this because this quilt is larger than it shows here. So they're spread out throughout the quilt. So even though I'm using, I have 8 blocks or so that all have the same browns on them, they're going to be spread out throughout the quilt, and so you're not going to see those together. So here is my first checkerboard. So what I did is I just went through the basket and I picked 2 colors that went well. So I have the same white background fabric, and I'm using these on all of the blocks, this white here. And it's a Christopher Thompson print, I believe, but I didn't bring the name of it here with me. I'll show it up close. So you can see it's got little dots, and I can find the name of that print and put it in the description down below. But that's the same background I'm using on all of them. And here in the middle, for any blocks where it uses the white, then I just use that same background print. So I went through my basket and I just pulled out a light and put that around the edge, and then the middle I did a dark print, and I tried to make them coordinate. So this is my black one, black. It's kind of an off black with the gray. And then I did a red one. And again, I did the lighter print around the outside and the darker print as the checkerboard itself. Then I did a blue one. And that blue has a little bit of a print to it, but from here it looks like it's a solid. And then I did an orange one. This one's kind of fun. A little darker, the orange for the checkerboard, and then the lighter orange around the edges. So those are my 4 checkerboard blocks. And again, those are all pulled from this one basket of scraps is what it is. And so I just pulled out coordinating fabrics. So then for the second set of blocks, these are called Sunwashed blocks. So again, I'm using the same basket. This time I needed 3 prints. And so I would pull out a print and find coordinating ones that went together. I kind of fussy cut that flower just a little bit so that it would be in the center of that, and then chose the green gingham to go along with it, and then the color to match the flower. So that's one. Now here, this is the same center print as is in this one, but I used it in a different place with a light blue and a darker blue. Then here is one. This is gray, and then this one, the blue print was kind of, it's like ropes, kind of like cowboy type theme. And then I put the black square in the middle for that one. So you can see, you know, even the block kind of changes look just with the color placement of the fabrics. And then the final one I did yellow in the middle with green, and then the red. So again, the block kind of changes shape depending on how you place the fabrics. Different things pop out. So in this one, yeah, the white's kind of popping out on both of those. So those are the Sunwashed blocks. So those are my 8 blocks for February. And again, they all have the same brown print, but that is different from the brown print from the January blocks. But all coordinating, you know. So those will be spread out throughout the quilt. So then this week, the next set of blocks comes out, and we are to be working on the flag blocks. So you can see what those look like. There's one there, and there's one there, a third one there. We are to be doing, I assume it's 4. You can buy this pattern through Fat Quarter Shop. And I'm assuming it's 4 blocks, but I haven't looked at them to be sure yet. It says 3. We're making 3 flag blocks, so that shouldn't take very long to do. Find some reds, and so you can see the block itself is kind of a darker red with a lighter red. It's not a white, just with a lighter red and then a blue. So I'll be using my box for that one. And that's my update on my Sew Scrappy Spools. That's been a lot of fun, and it's been an easy sew along because you're only doing 4 blocks for the month, and so it's fun to pull it back out. You know, you work on it once, and then you kind of put it away for 2 or 3 weeks, and then you pull it back out again, so that's been a fun one to work on. So my next quilt along that I've been working on is the Calico Garden, and this one is a lot more intense. It's once a week, and I'm a tad bit behind, but I am getting caught up. I'm not doing too bad. So the Calico Garden is a Lori Holt quilt along, and the pattern, it's not a pattern, it's a sew along guide is what Lori calls it. Let me put it on the side. You can print this off of her website, her blog, and we are in week 6, I want to say. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yes, this is week 6. So, free sew along guide, but you will need the Sew Simple shapes, and you can use your own fabrics, or you can purchase the kit for this. I did purchase the kit for this, and I love the fabrics. It's been really, really fun to work with. So this is the binder that I keep it in, and I put my sew along guide into plastic sleeves here. And then towards the back, these are the fabrics that I have already cut, and I have put in their respective little sleeves for the different blocks. So this first one says apple block, and so those are the fabrics that for the apple block. And I have cut quite a few of the fabrics. I haven't cut everything yet, but you can see how big my binder is. Now the majority of this is for the Calico Flowers ones. You can see this one, I really should put this in something else, because this one sleeve has all of those Calico flowers in them. Let me show you an example of that block. So Lori put the directions, you know, she did a video on her YouTube channel about how to do these blocks, and you just work on them throughout the whole quilt along. So I only have one done. I think there's like 18 or something like that, but that's why that one sleeve is so full, because all of the pieces for these are already cut and in there. So that's the Starflower block, Calico Garden block. It's kind of Calico Flower block. She calls it a couple different things. So let me show you the blocks that I have finished. And I showed these first ones a couple weeks ago, but just as a reminder, so I have, the first week was the coneflower blocks, and I only have one of those done. I need to go back and do the other. There's a blue one as well that I haven't finished yet, and that's the purple one. So then the next week was the Morning Glory blocks, and I do have those done, except for the buttons. And there's a little bit of embroidery where you do the flower parts coming up and then the buttons on top, and I have not done that part either. But these are all stitched down, all appliqued. I do machine applique, and I do that with an invisible thread on the top. So this is called Monopoly. This is a monofilament thread. I use this in the top of the sewing, and then I just use a white thread in the bobbin, and that is how I do all of my machine embroidery, machine applique. And the reason I do that is because I don't have to change threads with different colors of fabric, depending on, so like for this block, I wouldn't have to change the green for the blue when I was stitching it out. And I can do one block after another. So I really like this. I don't have any trouble using it. I really enjoy using that for my applique. So those are the Morning Glory blocks. The next week was the Primrose blocks, and there are two of those. Here is the pink one. Now, the only thing that is not done on this one, before I say it, let me just look at it. Yeah, all right, when I started on this block, there is supposed to be a little, you know how when you have like a terracotta pot and you'll have the smaller dish underneath that catches the water? There is supposed to be one of those underneath here. And I realized as I was starting on this that I do not have a 1/2 inch bias tape maker. And you need it for this project. There's quite a few blocks that use the 1/2 inch. So it is on order, it's on its way here. But I finished everything else on this block, and then when I get that bias tape maker, I can do that last piece, and it goes right on the top of this. So it doesn't mess up anything there. So that's one Primrose block. Here is the purple one, and the same thing with this one. It has the piece that goes across the bottom, so I'll finish those up once I receive that. So Primrose blocks, really cute. I like this pink. That's the pink that I used on the back of my cross stitch last week. Did you see that one? Really like that fabric. All right, then week 4 was the Red Roses block, and I have that one finished. And I believe on this one there is a 1/2 inch bias tape that needs to go right there across that one. Let me look at the picture to make sure that's where it goes. Yeah, so it's across the top of the pot, and I left enough room that can just sit right there. So everything else is applique down. I just need to go back once I receive that tape maker and do that one. So the Red Roses block. Then the next one from week 4 is the Mums block. Now, any of you sewing along with this one? No, this one's what did I do? Oh, yes. I'm trying to look at the picture to see where this one is. Because there's, yep. So on this one, if you're sewing along, do you see the mistake I made on this one? There's always got to be something, right? So this one was supposed to have 2 green leaves, one here and one here. By the time I realized it, I already had this glue basted, and it was pretty good. I mean, I could have pulled it apart, but I just decided it's not worth it. This is my quilt. If it doesn't have those 2 little leaves, that's okay. So my mom's block, there is a second, I thought there was a second one. No, I'm looking at a different one. No, it must be the only one. So anyway, I had the green pieces cut. I had the interfacing cut, and for whatever reason, I just missed it. So I'm gonna leave it. That's the mom's block. And then, so that's weeks 1 through 4. Week 5 was the Forget-Me-Not block. And I forgot to bring that in here. So if you'll hold on just a second, I'll run and get that. All right, so I had to run back to my sewing area because I forgot to bring this block. Last week was the Forget-Me-Not block. And this one is a different size than the others. So I have not stitched it yet, but everything is cut and turned. And I have it pinned and glue basted onto here. So I have 2 design boards because this is bigger than any of my design boards. I have a large one here and I just put a smaller one here just so that I could pin baste it to that. So you can see my pins in there, and that's just really holding it in place while the glue dries. And I'm sure it's dry now. I did this earlier, but so it's all ready to take the pins out and then to applique this on my sewing machine. The interesting part about this block was this right here. So when I look at this, I thought this was bias tape in the pattern. I'm just seeing the picture. I thought this was bias tape that you would do and curve like that. And I thought, wow, that's pretty good. And then I realized what this is this is one big oval. It's one big blue oval and another white one. And it's actually a little smaller than this. And she has you cut it in half and then put half of it on this side and half of it on this side. Pretty ingenious. Thought that was good. I like those flowers. I like the yellow and the blue together. I think that's really cute. So this one's all ready to stitch, to do the applique part. And I'll have this done soon. And then this week's blocks that blog post came out yesterday is for the picket fence block. Let me see if I can show you that. And the grass and soil block. So you can see all across here, the picket fence, the grass, and the soil there. And getting ready, it says to prepare the hens and the root vegetables, so everything that's going on to this part. So that'll be a little different from all the applique of the flowers. So that'll be fun to start on. So let me show you a little more about my booklet. So I showed you how I keep the fabrics in here. So when I cut the fabrics, then I put them in their appropriate, these are just sheet protectors is what they are. So they're open on the top. For the most part, the fabrics stay down in there. Now this one that's really full, I need to make sure that I don't lose anything out of that one. In the back is where I keep my Sew Simple shapes. So all I did was keep it in the original plastic bag that they came in. It's a nice thick poly bag, and so I 3-hole punched it and put that in. But with this Quilt Along, there are like 88, I don't know, over 80 shapes in it. And so each time I was going to find those numbers of shapes that I needed to do for the applique, I was having to search through all of those pieces. So what I did instead is I separated them by numbers. So this is one of my enamel pans that I showed a couple weeks ago, and I've just kept all my supplies for this Quilt Along in here. So I have here I have just this is little Coca-Cola. It's just a decorative cup, but I've got my bias tape makers in there, and like I said, I'm missing the 1/2-inch one, so that one's on order. And I showed you the spool. A lot of the flower blocks have used this this bias tape, and the others, this is sitting there waiting to get that 1/2-inch tape maker. So that's my spool for that. I have the applique pins. These are Lori's pins. And this is what I use to applique them down to the, that's what I use them to hold them to the design board until they're ready to applique. And then this is my interfacing I keep in here. And then, what else do I have in here? I have my Sue Daily glue. And I have my roller. And these are just other, these are other bias tapes that I've cut, but I have not made yet, which I need to. So then you can see I have all these little yellow baggies, and this is what I decided to do with all the shapes. So I just labeled them. So this one says 60s, and this has all the shapes in it that were in the 60 range. 60 through 69 are in this bag. Then, so I just labeled them that way, 80s, and now, so they're ziplocked in. When I have the number, you know, 87, I just go straight to this bag, and I'm only looking through 10 shapes then instead of 80. So I have each one of those. Now the ones, so I have 50s, 40s. This one I just did 1 through 19. So it's a little more in this one, but not bad. And then 20s, 30s, 70s. So I have all of them separated that way. And then just put them all in this tin. A little easier that way than going through that entire thing. Now some of the shapes are too big to fit into these yellow bags. These are just Ziploc baggies picked up at Walmart. And so those are still in the back of the binder in that bigger thing. So some of the bigger shapes, there's some big circles and other things. And those are still in my binder in the back part of that. So that's how I'm keeping track of all of my supplies for my Calico Garden Quilt Along, and I'm really happy. I'm only, you know, I've got the blocks for this week still to do. Just need to stitch the Forget Me block, and I need to go back, Forget Me Not block, and I need to go back and do that one other one. But besides that, I'm pretty much caught up and still need to work on some of those calico flowers. But really, I'm not too far behind, so I'm really excited about that. So I hope you're working on that one too. That is a lot of fun. And I'm enjoying doing that along with Lori. So let me see, what else have I got for you today? Let's look through some Happy Mail. I have to show you something I got. I ordered this. On Instagram, I follow Midlife Quilter, I think is her name, and she put a post up one day and showed a quilt that she was working on, and she had all of her blocks set out there, and she had these cute little markers that she was using to mark her fabric, which, you know, which ones were the A blocks and which were the B blocks. And so I immediately looked down to the bottom of the post to see what those were, and I went to the website. It wasn't hers, she got them from somebody else, and I ordered me some. So I ordered some for me, so let me show you what they are. These are like old, let me find the A one. What they remind me of is like typewriter type key letters. That's not what they are, but that's what they look like to me. They're actually just little wooden letters, and they are put on these huge paper clips. I just think these are adorable. So I have A through, I don't even know, M maybe, all of these. So when you're cutting blocks for a quilt and you cut them, and the A blocks, you know, and you would just clip them in here, all the A blocks, you know, and you would put it in there. The C blocks, and you would put them with that. I just think these are adorable, just really cute. I loved them. I haven't even used them yet. I kept them in the package until I showed you, and then I'll use them for something that I'm quilting with. So any pattern that you have that does the cutting instructions by letter, and then there's also a set of number ones. And look at this, when she sent them in this cute little bag, little drawstring bag, and then these are numbers. So it's 1 through 10. Same thing, just numbers. So however your pattern is written that you're working on, I just think they're adorable. So let me show you who they're from. So this is Bella Bruner, and her company name is Seams Sew Me. Seams is spelled S-E-A-M-S, and sew is S-E-W. She's also a pattern designer. So if you would like a set of your own little fabric piece markers, then you'll need to get a hold of her. So seamsewme.com, or you can follow her on Instagram. I just thought those were adorable, and I grabbed mine as soon as I could and can't wait to use those. I just thought they were really, really cute. So that's my first happy mail. Second one is not necessarily mail, but back in February, so our local guild meets on the third Tuesday of each month, and in February we decided to have a birthday party, and it was a birthday party to celebrate everybody's birthdays at once, and it was a really nice way to mingle with each other. Sometimes when we come into guild meeting, you kind of sit with your same friends each week, and don't really talk to others. And so what our president did is she set out tables, and each table was a different month, and you had to sit at the table of your birthday month. So I was able to meet 5 other people that had January birthdays, and we had a couple games we played, which were a lot of fun. We had construction paper quilt pieces, and we had to put them together to make a quilt block. That was some fun, and we obviously had birthday cake and ice cream. One of the other things we did was we were each supposed to bring a white elephant gift. Anything sewing related, something you had. You understand a white elephant gift if you've done that kind of thing at Christmas time. It's something from around your house. So I took some fabric that I wasn't going to use and put that in a gift bag with some scissors, and and I had a pattern with it too, and that's what I put in the gift bag. But I was so excited with what I received. So this is, I got a, this is a 10-inch stacker from Riley Blake, and I was trying to see who the designer of this was, and I don't, J. Wecker Frisk, and this is called Coffee Chalk. So it's a 10-inch stacker. And it is so cute. Let me show you the back. It shows all of the designs that are on there. Now, if you followed me for very long, you know this is right up my alley. I like the color scheme, first of all. I like old words. I like words. And this is just fun. I just thought this was really cute. I was so excited when I got this. Especially because I don't want this to sound bad, but I got rid of fabric that I knew I wasn't going to use, that I'm sure somebody else will, but I wasn't going to use it. And then to receive something that I know I will use was just super exciting. So I thought this was really cute. So it's got the aquas and the prints. Here's like Edison bulbs. Aren't those cute? And then this words. I love words. And then the coffee theme. So one of my daughters actually works for a coffee shop. She's a barista. So this may have to be quilt for her. And the aqua print. So it's the aquas, the grays, and then the, what color would you call that? Orange? Melon. I mean, it's deeper than a melon, but just really cute. So I was so excited to get that. That was some happy mail, I guess. Not really in the mail, but a happy gift. A nice surprise. And then the next thing I got in the mail was my Sew Sampler box for February. So let me show you that. If you don't get this, this is a monthly subscription box from Fat Quarter Shop. And it's always fun to open and see what surprises we have. So this month, the theme is Enjoy the Little Things. And as always, there's a coupon on the back. And this month's coupon was on Jolly Bars. And actually inside here is a Jolly Bar. And I'll show you that. And well, let's just go ahead and show it to you now. So a Jolly Bar is an exclusive cut that Fat Quarter Shop does. So they did Jolly Bar in Cory Yoder's new line called Sunwashed. So let me open this up so you can see what the fabrics look like if you've been, if you've seen these lately. Really cute, springy, gingham. I like that too. Really pretty, just spring fabric ways. Again, it's that same melon color, but this time with blues and yellows and greens and flowers. Very similar to other designs. That one especially, because I know I've used something like that in my quilt along. So the Jolly Bar is, let me get this right, I believe it's a 5 by 10 inch cut. Let me find where it says it. Maybe it said it on the thing that I pulled off somewhere. Oh, here it is. Okay, a Jolly Bar is, and that doesn't say it either. I know I read on here. So a Jolly Bar, I want to say it's a 5 inches by 10 inches. Sorry, I can't find it right now. But the only ones that cut it this way are Fat Quarter Shop. And so here's the size. 5 by 10, 42 pieces, and they're from an entire line, and it's cut 5 inches by 10 inches. And then they include, here's where I found it. Yes, Jolly Bars are collections of 42 pieces of 5 by 10 inch rectangles, and they are exclusive to Fat Quarter Shop. And each Jolly Bar comes with a quilt pattern. So this is the quilt pattern that came along with this Jolly Bar. And this is called Summer Picnic Quilt. It's a 65 by 67. That is cute. That is cute, and it looks real simple. So it looks like most of the pieces are left, but you've got some of them that are cut in half maybe, and that's cute. Probably a pretty easy one, pretty easy to put together, and that would be a fun quilt. So that's included in the Jolly, or in the Fat Quarter Shop box. And then also with each box you always get some sort of fabric. This time it's a Jolly Bar, sometimes it's 10-inch stacker, maybe not a complete one, but some, or it's you know, a jelly roll or mini jelly rolls or whatever. So there's also a quilt pattern included, and here, so this is another one that uses that same fabric, and this one uses that Jolly Bar, and then it uses some white fabric for the top, and then just a blue binding, of course, then your backing fabric too that you would need. But that one's a cute one too. I like that. I like that. And this one's a little smaller. It's a 54 by 54. But that's cute. But you could even do this pattern with, you know, any, you know, you can cut 5 by 10 pretty easy. So some coordinating fabrics. So I like that. All right. Also within the box this month is this set of, this is from the Featherweight shop. And I've already taken this off of here. These are called thread grabbers. Perfect tool for that thread that's behind the bobbin case or the foundation paper stuck in a stitch. These are all metal Threadostat thread grabbers. Has a smooth jaw to grip tightly and securely as you clamp the handles together. It also helps to have an extra hand in a tight space. So, thread grabbers from the Featherweight shop. Then there's another set of pens. You can always use pens, right? Then there is a needle book. This one's cute. It's a canvasy feel to it, like the color would be easily seen if you had it down in a bag. And so there's spots for your needles. There's little pockets on both sides here, and then this one is divided into 2 spots. So if you had thimbles or even binder clips or something like that, those would fit in there without falling out. This one would be better for like a little pair of scissors. Nice orange color. That would be really cute to keep in a cross-stitch bag even. Another thing in the box this month these are biodegradable bags, and there's 6 of them. Let me open this up so you can see this. So they suggest that if you are at a quilt retreat and you You can take one of these along to serve as your trash. Okay, so there's 2 pieces of adhesive. So there's one here on the back. So you could peel this one off and stick it in front of you, in front of your sewing table, in front of your sewing machine if you were at a retreat. And then when you're ready to close it, there's a adhesive on the front that then you could fold it over and close the bag shut. So this says then you could either donate, the bag of scraps to some place that uses that kind of thing, or if you had maybe smaller scraps that you cut into certain sizes, and then you could give it as a gift to a friend. So perfect for your sewing room or for retreats or in the car, any place that you need a place to drop your threads or your your little pieces of trash without dropping it on the floor. Yeah, so a dual adhesive strips for both bag closure and bag placement. You can put it, so that's kind of nice, kind of neat, and a cute little bag. Looks pretty anyway, right? And the final thing in the box this month is the block 11, instructions for the Bliss Quilt Along. And I have that block finished. Let me show you. So this Bliss Quilt Along was done by Cory, Yoder. And so you're going to notice some of the same fabrics that were in, not the same fabrics, but some of the same designs. So here is block 11. Super simple. It went together really, really fast. So this one here is 2.5 inch squares on the corner, all 4 of those pieces. And the same thing with this, the red here, the yellow are 2.5 inch squares on the corner there. These 3 pieces go together. So really quick. And that's block 11. So I have all of my other ones. And so next month we will get the last block and the setting instructions. I'm assuming they may be on Fat Quarter Shop website. I haven't looked yet because I saw on their YouTube channel they already were showing some of the setting of it, but I haven't looked to see if I can get that. So 11 blocks done. Again, this is an easy quilt along to do because you get 1 block a month. So if you're part of the Sew Sampler box, it's a good way to quilt along. Now you can buy a fabric kit for it. I'm just using ones. I'm using Cory Yoder fabric that I had on hand. So very similar prints, but not exactly. A lot of her stuff goes together. But I'm just using what I had on hand. So a lot of fun to participate in that one. And even the pattern itself is available on their website if you're interested in that. I wanted to show you too, if you followed my floss tube, you know that I keep a book of days, which basically is just a way to record what I work on every day. Well, I also do the same thing with my quilting. And this year I am using Sherry McConnell's book, what she call it, a Quilting Life Planner and Workbook. Now this is so much more than just a calendar. It is, let me see how many pages. Over 100 pages in this one, so it's more than just a calendar. I've added some stickers onto mine. It just says quilt year. I'm trying to use up those stickers from that book I have. But so I added that to the front. On the inside, I added some other stickers. So across this table of contents page, I tried to do kind of a 2023. I was out of 2s, so I used 2 birds there. So for 2023. And just on this one, she had pictures of quilts, so I put my name, trying to use up those letters, and another bigger sticker that was there. So then let me show you on the inside. So these are actually blank months, so you could start this at any time. I purchased a set of stickers. I like this look. So I purchased a set of stickers, monthly stickers, and I just put one of those on each of the months. And then you date it yourself, so you can start at any time. And I just record either personal projects that I'm working on. I also record the long arming that I do on here as well, just with the client's first name usually and whatever quilt that I'm working on for them. But also in here, the first part of the book, she does a lot of reflection about your prior year sewing, things you might want to change, kind of plans for the new year. And then here's February. And I add stickers to mine just so it's pretty. But then she goes into, you can record your works in progress, you can record long-term works in progress, bucket list projects that you want to do, and then I've started on March. But then on through here, she talks about how to store fabrics. She gives you worksheets for keeping track of rulers or threads or patterns. So it really is, what I like about this is I can record my sewing, I can record my scrap management, I can record patterns and rulers, and it's kind of a snapshot in time. Years later, I can go back and look, and it's because this is kind of, this will change over the years. Patterns I've gotten rid of, or rulers I don't use anymore, or works in progress that now I can look back and say, oh yeah, I remember when I did that. So there's like, this page is inventory of pre-cuts, and I filled one of these out last year, but I didn't keep, I'm doing a better job this year, let me just put it that way. So here's what a blank, I just put the September dates or name at the top, but I haven't even filled that in yet. Sherry shares a lot of her favorites, book list in the back, her favorite tools, the things she likes to use. There's a whole big section in the back for project planning. So you can list the supplies, the things that you might need. But this is just, I've enjoyed it. Way to keep track of everything. Gifts you make, sewing for charity. And then she has room for quarterly reviews, so you can, which will be coming up to here end of March, I can record, this is what went well, this is what didn't went well, I planned on doing this, but I didn't get that done. Maybe record my top 3 things that I finished in that quarter. But if you're wanting a way to keep track of your quilting as well as your cross stitch, if you do that, that's how I keep track of my quilting, is in that book there. All right, so that is, we've gone over my Quilt Alongs, we've gone over Happy Mail, and so how about we do some long arm finishes that I've done recently. There's a few. I have a couple of wall hangings, and then I have a large Quilt of Valor quilt to share. So my first wall hanging, this was, Jennifer brought these to me, and let me back up so you can see this whole thing. All right, so kind of a modern look to this one. Yes, you saw that right. It is offset down to the bottom. That is really cool. And just a neat, you see the fabrics that Jennifer's used there. So using the inspiration off of the star print down there at the bottom, we went with kind of an angular finish to complement that. And this pantograph is called Leanne. I purchased this off of My Creative Stitches, and this is called Leanne. And I like the angular shapes to those, complementing that fabric down there. Here's the back. I used a light gray thread that blends in. Really nice. Very modern look to it. And so Jennifer will finish the binding on that and then hang that up, maybe in her office, I think she said. And then I have a second one from Jennifer. And this one is a Halloween theme. So the same type, let me hold this up for you. So the same idea, being a modern wall hanging, is the offset, the large area of blank canvas there, which is fun. And then you can see the Halloween fabrics. I like that pumpkin, that's really cute. So my inspiration for this one, when I was looking at this quilt, this fabric right here. And I thought it would be really neat to find something along those lines. I didn't find quite something like that. I did find a spider web. And I went with one that it has a little bit of the arch motion there, but not as much as some of the others that I saw. So I kind of went with this one. I did go with this one. And again, I used, this one is a dark gray thread because the fabrics were all dark. There you can kind of see that. And her backing fabric is really cute. Like a paint splattered black. There you can see the spider web. So obviously this pantograph would look really nice on any type of a Halloween type quilt. This is called Dave's Spiderweb, and I purchased this from Urban Elements, if you're a long arm quilter looking for that. So yeah, really cute. A lot of fun. So Jennifer will be finishing the binding on that one too, and then hanging that one on her wall. And the last one I have to show you today is a Quilts of Valor quilt. And so if you've heard of that program before, Quilts of Valor is a national program that provides quilts to veterans. And I don't have statistics. You can look that up on their website, but it's a neat program. So our guild participates in Quilts of Valor. I think last year we made, I want to say 18 quilts for veterans. And then we funnel the ones that we finish onto a larger chapter of the Quilts of Valor, and then they pass those out to veterans. So this is the first one I've done for this year, and let me show you this one. So it's got alternating blocks, not only in design, but also in color. So you can see we've got a white, then a red, then a white background. That one's an American flag one. So all red and white prints, red and white and blue prints. I love the American flag fabrics as well. And let me show you some others. Fireworks. And any red, white, and blue fabric will work. Any blue, I mean, that's not necessarily patriotic. But you put it with other patriotic ones. This one's a cute one. The blue stripe. Here's another American flag one. So a lot of fun. So for this pantograph, I chose what's called Karen's chevrons. Let me get a close-up of that so you can see. Might show up better on the lighter fabrics there. I like this. This is kind of a neutral pantograph. It can be used on all different kinds of quilts. I like this because it kind of reminded me, I guess I'm always looking for some sort of inspiration. So two things. This added some angular movement, along with, you know, you've got the shapes of these blocks here, and you've got the shape of the stars that has some angular diagonal type thing. So that complements that. And it also reminded me of, I'm not a military buff, so it reminded me of the patches that military sometimes wears on their shoulders, and I thought that went well with it. So I apologize for my ignorance in that, but I like that pantograph. Now I did use a light gray thread. And the reason for that is it blends in well with colors. If I would used a white, then it would have shown up really bright on this, and I just didn't want that feel to it. I wanted it to be more subtle. So even on the white, from here you don't really see the gray. Now you get in close and you can tell that it's a gray thread. But it kind of adds, kind of tones down those whites a little bit with all of the other colors. It just kind of tones down the white a little bit. The back is just a blue. Let me show it to you this way so that the pantograph really can go either way, but that's the direction that it stitches out with the V's pointing downwards. So you can see that a little bit better. Yeah. So then I will take this back to Quilt Guild and somebody else does the binding, and then they collect these throughout the year. And then usually towards the end of the year, then they'll funnel these into the chapter that's like in southern Indiana or something like that, and then they distribute those. So I enjoy working on this. Is a large quilt. I don't know that I wrote down the size. No, this one is a 68 by 83, and I know when you're donating quilts for Quilts of Valor, that on their website they list sizes that they want the quilts to be. And sometimes I think they even have patterns, and this may be one of the patterns that they suggest that you use for that. So a lot of fun. I enjoy donating my time to do that as well. So I think that's all I have for you today. Lots of stitching going on. I'm enjoying these quilt alongs, and I hope to get more done on those over this next week. I have several quilts I need to get to on the Longarm, so I hope I have lots of finishes for you next week to show. And I hope you're getting lots of time to stitching yourself. If you, I would ask a favor of you. If you're enjoying my videos here, would you become a subscriber for me? And I would sure appreciate that. That helps other people to find my channel as well. If you're needing long arm quilting services, I hope you'll jump over to my website, TammyErnestQuilting.com, and all the information you need is right there. And if I can be of help in any way, just leave me a comment and let me know, or send me an email, and I'll be happy to help you. And I pray that you have a wonderful week, and we'll see you back here next week.